Hello and welcome to This Time Africa. As you know, This Time Africa is in the studios of Africa Today, and as usual we talk about African men, African women. We showcase African art and culture, our beauty, our emerging leaders. We talk with politicians and much more in the dish right here on This Time Africa. But the question always is, what's on this time? On This Time Africa today, our clock faces Cameroon, where I have somebody that I'm going to be speaking with, talking about teaching the next generation about Africa. And that's in the person of Paulette Mpouma, who is the owner of Africa Memory Game. Welcome to the show, Paulette.
Welcome. Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's so wonderful. It's so great to have you. You know, when I saw Africa Memory Game, there was no way I was going to pass this interview by, because it kind of like, it's so interesting to hear Africa Memory Game, because we've been playing Monopoly, we've been playing Scrabble, we've been playing all kinds of solitaire and all that kind of thing. But when I saw Africa Memory Game at the program, I thought, I think it would be good for us to say, why Africa Memory Game?
Okay, the whole story starts when I was raising my children, and I found that there are not so much educational material on Africa. So I have to, actually the concern was raised when my kindergarten child came and asked me if I have AIDS when I was a child. So when I respond why, she said because she saw a video at school where all of the African children have AIDS. So I have to look at most of the material they have, and I found out up to 7th grade they did not have anything really about Africa. 7th grade they were learning about Ethiopia only. So I decided that we will start at home and learn from scratch, use the map and create questions to learn about the different facts on Africa. So then after we develop it for everyone. So it's the game you can see here, the Africa Memory Game.
Africa Memory Game. And of course it's bilingual.
It's bilingual, it's English and French, because 30 countries out of 55 actually speak French.
Okay. All right. So so your motivation was about your child asking you this. I would like to put it this way, breaking the stereotype.
Exactly.
Because there's a lot of stereotype that people have in their minds about what Africa looks like and what the people look like, or you know, the perception about Africa. So that's what really motivated you. But what was the breaking point? What was the turnaround from starting it in the house and just doing it as a family thing? What prompted you to bring it out to the public?
I think what prompted me is I understood that I was thinking before that racism is due to ignorance for sure, but that it was just the older children, not my children, you understand? And when I start having children, my children asking me, how do you go to school in Africa? Do you have camel? Do you have even house in Africa? I understood that the ignorance is perhaps due to the fact that there's lack of education, and it's just generalized. So if a child grow up without knowing what is Africa or who are the people of Africa, he will never invest in Africa. And our generation, our children are born in Western countries, but we want them in a certain way to give back to our continent. So when we have children growing without that knowledge, they will never invest in Africa, and we have to take care of this generation of children to teach them why we love our country so much, why we love the continent and the wealth of the continent.
That's right, the wealth of the continent, and also breaking or bridging together that generational gap. Because what has been happening, and I think not only for Africa but other societies as well, is that there is this wide generational gap. That why do we love Africa, like you said? Why do we wear the clothes? And when we give these clothes to our kids, they're like, oh, I don't think I can wear this African. I don't want to wear this African clothes. So I think not only as for the game, but as individuals, as adults who come from Africa, people who have their roots to Africa, I think it's so very important that we begin to bridge this generational gap, because we are at a time where the talk is Africa. Everywhere you go, the talk is Africa. So our kids need to know about that. What would you say about that? What do you want to add on?
I think I'm 100% with you, and it's why we are in this race. And the Africa Memory Game today, we are celebrating our 10 years anniversary. So it's a race that starts since 2009 actually. And I know that there's still more to do. It's why we create the platform of Teaching Africa Day, because there's not so much on education. I found that many festival or many celebration of Africa, people are expect to have only drums and dance, food, but nothing really educational. Asking people even around the crowd, how many people, how many countries are in Africa, you'll be amazed that people will say 5 or 6, they don't know. So
I mean, there are a lot of people that even feel, and up to this century, that Africa only is one country. There are a lot of people who still, I mean, feel that way. So let's talk a little bit about Teaching Africa Day. What's Teaching Africa Day all about?
Teaching Africa Day is a platform of many institutions teaching on Africa. So what we do is I do games, and I found that I have some colleagues who are doing books. Some are doing video application, teaching like Yoruba, Igbo, or different Shona, different language. Some are doing videos on Africa. So we say, why not create a platform where we have all of this educational material? The focus is on education. It's not about, we have Africa Day today and we have drum outside. No, it's about how to educate something, a knowledge that can stay in your child. So he grow up with knowing how Africa look like through different material.
And so that the teaching of on African Day, and I understand that it's more about education, but what does it border? Does it border around culture? Does it border around history? What exactly is, what happens on Africa Day?
On Africa Day, actually, you go through like a journey in Africa. So when you enter, you have books first. So the parent can choose all kind of books that can help him actually talk about Africa at home. And then you go to games. Do you know, like you say, instead of playing Monopoly or Scrabble or anything, you can play a game where you come back to the capital, so you learn a little bit about history, geography, about the culture, and then you have application. Do you know, instead of having, I don't say that the older games are bad, but you can have a game that can help you teach your child your language. So you will do like at the end of the journey in Teaching Africa Day, it's like an immersion. Not only in the culture, but in the knowledge of who Africa are. And this year, we are inviting also some embassies that we showcase what are the main facts in the country and the beauty of the country.
So it's like a roadmap. You walk into the room and you learn a little bit about this and all of that, and come back and walk through the maze and come back. All right, that's good. So if somebody would stop you on the street and say, Paulette, what is your one message that you want to send across for the game and for the Teach Africa Day? What is this main message
I think
that boils in you, that this is why I'm doing all of this? What is it?
I think my burden for this generation, for the parent of my age, is you have to handle what is the best to your children. And it could be, for some, it could be the religious side. But for me, is the love of Africa. It's what I'm asking parents, because I tell people that through the game, why I'm doing the game actually is, when someone knows what is the best in you, his value, his consideration of you change.
Of course, yes.
And it's very important for the people writing policies on Africa to know Africa.
It's very important. It's very, very important. And to also understand that Africa is not just one big branch that is sitting there, because we all have, I think the uniqueness of Africa embodies the different cultures, the different styles, our language, the way we do things. You know, the other day I went to visit a friend, and I'm sure most of you have heard about him, the Afropolitan Cities.
Yes.
And he had this jollof competition. It was so good because there were people there from different countries. We all know about jollof, but just the way people cook it. I want to say Sierra Leone is the best, but you will say Cameroon.
Sierra Leone is the best, so I confirm.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. She said that on TV, but I know that people will say, oh no, it's Ghana, oh no, it's
No,
Sierra Leone, it's Nigeria. Everybody's is the best, but it's the commonality of the food. The commonality of when you wear something, you don't have to come from that particular country. You know this is an African fabric. You know this is Africa. So this is so very good. And I like what you said on your website, that it's not about the safari. It's not about going to see the kangaroos, the animals, and it's not about the gelegs, which people know about. What is it about? What is it about Africa that we need to be talking more about, that we need to shed more light on?
I think now we need to change our view and understand that Africa is changing. Africa is moving, and it's more like a movement of people knowing each other. Yes. We are in a generation where you are in the same room, you find South African, you find Sierra Leonean, you find Africans, and they get together.
Yes.
And with the simple love of the continent.
Yes.
You understand?
Yes.
And that generation is moving. And guess what? The diaspora also is connecting. So we have many ways, not only by the people, but by the knowledge we have to build and try to fix what we can fix in our continent.
Try to fix what we can fix. But let me ask this question before we take a break.
Okay.
What do you think triggered this? Because there was a time when Africans were very proud, you know, we're very proud African people. But a time came when it seems like everything dwindled down. But what has just happened? Why is the sleeping giant awake again in all of Africa, and people want to do this? Why do you think? What happened?
I don't have the answer for everything.
Yeah. Good.
But I know there's a movement.
Yes.
And we all want to be part of it.
Yes.
It's why each one of us just need to do his part. And for me, I received game, so I'm running with the game.
She received her own strategy and her own way, and that's what she's running with. But you know what? There is a movement that is going on, and you want to be part of it, as I am very much part of it, and that's why we're here at This Time Africa. We are discussing Teaching Africa Day and Africa Game, Memory Game. We will be right back. Don't you touch the dial. This is This Time Africa. All right, welcome again. This is This Time Africa, and I'm here again with Paulette Mpouma, who is the owner and the founder of Africa Memory Game, and also owns an educational platform, Teaching Africa Day. So we spoke a lot about our vision, objectives, and what we're looking at. Let's look at the memory game. Okay. The memory game is making such a buzz now, and I want to be. Don't ask me questions that I can't answer, by the way. Let me see.
That's one.
So, Africa Memory Game. Is this just for young people? Because I see you put two. What is that?
Let's say that I mix the kind of question, so you can play with a young audience without having to. You can do just the capitals.
I want the camera to capture this.
Okay.
This beautiful map of Africa. Test your Africa IQ, learn as you play. I would love to do that.
Okay.
Not on TV though. So we need to go back to that time. So how many games do you have, like in all, in a box like this?
I have now at least 20.
Oh.
Yes, because I did the continent of Africa, the whole continent, and then I have requests per country.
Oh, okay.
So I have a series that is going on now that is like Senegal at your fingertips, Ghana at your fingertips, Liberia at your fingertips. So per country also I have trivia.
You are doing a marvelous work. H stands for the Horn of Africa. So what are the countries that are part of the Horn of Africa? What are the countries that make the Horn of Africa? Do you know any of them? What are the countries?
Ethiopia, Eritrea,
Kenya.
Somalia.
In case you're guessing, what are the countries that make or form the part of the Horn of Africa? We have Kenya, Tanzania, Mozambique, the Comoros, Ethiopia, Eritrea, Somalia, and Djibouti. And of course, that same question is also en français. Si tu parles français? All right. Let's try another one. G stands for Guinea-Bissau. So what is the capital of Guinea-Bissau? Is it A, Bissau, or is it B, Conakry?
It's Bissau.
It's Bissau. You see, you should ask me. You should have asked me that. The next card I take that is that I know the answer. I'm going to let you ask me that because I would know this easily. Okay. All right. I'm trying to do this so that our audience can feel and know the reason why they should really buy this, because it's so, I love it. I think I'm going to get one, maybe at a discount. What is there? What color is not found? What color is not found on Gabon flag? Gabon. Gabon. I don't want to guess.
Answer A or B.
Is it A or B? I think B.
Okay. What is A? What is B?
A is blue and B is white.
Okay, you're right.
I was right, right? There's no white on the flag. And trust me, I did not spy at all. I did not spy at all. I just, because I'm trying to look at, I know they have a blue and all that, but they don't have white. Okay? Let's look at this. Is this a French word? What is called flora? Folere. Okay. Is it folere? Is it a beverage made out of hibiscus flower found in West Africa, or is it a river that is located in northern Nigeria? So when I saw the word folere, it reminds me of flour. So it just dawned on me. It just dawned on me that that's flour. All right. Let's do a couple more, and then I'm going to ask you, how did you come up with these questions? That's what the next one will be.
Okay.
The biggest animal of the Africa's fauna is it the gorilla or is it the elephant?
Elephant. It's always the elephant.
She knows. Why am I even asking the owner about that? She already knows. So the biggest animal of Africa's fauna is the elephant. I would have thought so too. Okay, E is for Egypt. What is the capital of Egypt? Please ask me that question.
Okay.
Please ask me.
Okay. So what is the capital of Egypt? Is it A, Rabat, or B, Cairo?
Cairo! Yes. So tell me a little bit, how did you come up with these questions and the strategy to alphabetize, if I can put it that way, these questions? I know that because they're in alphabet, they also help the kids. But how did you come up with this question? Did you have help? Did you have partners? Or how does it work?
Let's say that the first game was just like my children and I. So they helped me with the color. They helped me with the question that were too difficult, because you have to eliminate. And you have also to look at the mind of a child. When he finds too many difficulties, he will back up. He will not like to play the game. Okay. So what we did is we just did 4 categories, like 3 categories: main category, history, geography, culture, and then the famous people of the country.
Yes, I was about to say president. Okay.
So then after you balance in having the question, in the question actually you can have information that help you to understand better. So we can create a question, but you have already, so you are learning as you are playing.
Yes.
And with the game also, what I add is an incentive, is money. This is the money of the game, is 1 hega. Okay. And what happens is when you play on the map, when you don't know, you pay. You pay for lack of knowledge.
Wow, that's awesome.
And people awesome. Don't like to lose, even if it's fake money.
Yes, of course. So because money is an incentive.
Exactly.
So who wants to lose? No, I wouldn't want to lose.
Exactly.
So that's very good. So who are your partners? Who are you working with? Are you just...
I work with some, like for other games, I have games I create with Howard University. I have some I create with Smithsonian.
Okay.
And sometimes I receive an order from, like, I was working with, and I'm still working on it, with the Minister of, she was former Minister of Finance of Liberia. And what we do is, she gave me a book on leadership, emergent leadership of Africa, and I transformed the book to a game.
I was going to ask about that, the emergent leadership of Africa. And you said that's from the growing of Africa's emergent leadership.
Exactly.
Because I saw that on the website. Yeah.
Exactly. And if I knew, I should have brought one. Because that was one of my very challenging tasks, to transform her book. What she did is she did like a bank of different trajectories of young people from all over Africa. Zambia, Algeria, you name it, she has them. And she asked them how they came to do what they are doing at the age. Most of them are like between 25 and 40. And most of them, some were child soldier and they end up in diplomacy. Some were health, in different, even the people of the diaspora. So what we did is we create like a debate on most of the challenge of Africa. Like if Ebola happen again, or I know it's happening, but what is the solution? Is it like to close the frontier, the borders, and not communicate with other countries, because certain country did that just to control the disease? So it's like a debate. There's no yes or no answer, but it's to try to find a different solution to the problem of Africa. And trying to find it from people who may have gone through those different crises and how they emerged out to become leaders and to be in positions of leadership. That's very, very amazing. That's very amazing. I think I read about that from Liberia, and there was somebody also from Sierra Leone that has all
something.
Over. It's all like over. 72 different histories. But we condense them in small and with a challenge at the end. If it was you, what will you do? So you have to give your point of view, and then we discuss. Is it the best solution? Like the problem of corruption in Africa, how to go around it. So all of these are
in a form of a game, but also at the same time it's educative, and then it's also triggers the mind. It's participatory. That means people can do it. So is this something that you would recommend, like for families and all of that, I'm assuming?
Yes. I always say it's from 4 to 104. So you play with grandpa.
I like that 4 to 104. It's a very good debate. All right, so tell me about some projects or programs that are lined up for you for this year. I know that you have something coming up on the 21st.
The 21st of September, we have Teaching Africa Day. Is at the Civic Center from 9 to 4. It's free. We try to keep our program free to everyone, educators, parents. Everyone is welcome. And another project I have is this year I'm trying for the first time to distribute my game in Africa. So this year I went to Senegal, to Ivory Coast, to Liberia, and I'm invited again. So, and I have different libraries there who start distributing my game also. So it's a very good experience.
It is a good experience, I'm very sure. And so what do we need to look out for more? Because now that you've started, I think there's no stopping. So what's the expectation for the future?
To get an application where many of these games will be, so someone here can compete with someone in Zimbabwe or in South Africa or in Algeria.
Like we do online.
So get this kind, because knowledge now is very abstract. People learn things for 2 minutes and they forget. But we have to keep passing this memory because it's what can help us to construct, to build the future, actually.
It is very much true. And so how can people reach you? Do you have a website? If somebody wants to know more about your organization, what do they need to do?
So for Teaching Africa Day, we have the website that is teachingafricaday.com. And for the Africa Memory Game, we have the website also, www.theafricamemorygame.com.
Okay.
So those are the main way of, and the email is just the africamemorygame@gmail.com. It's as
It's
easy
the
as
same. Okay, the Africa Memory Game at gmail.com. All right, so that's quite easy. That's quite easy. So have you tapped into the diaspora yet here?
Yes, I've been working with the different leaders of the diaspora. So I do different projects.
Okay.
And it's why I say there's a movement, because even big institutions like Smithsonian or Howard University, they are actually, we are working together into different projects that are helping the diaspora to come together.
That's very important. That's so very true. So what is the one last word that you would like to leave with your viewers today? They are listening. What is the encouragement that you would like to leave and invite them to your different programs? If you want to talk to them, please.
I'm inviting more people to create based on their own idea, because it's very well needed. When I started doing this, I was kind of the only African who has a game. But I'm sure that a lot of people, because of my experience, has tried different small projects. Don't be discouraged, and we start small as diasporan, but as we get the support of others, we grow.
Okay.
So I really want to encourage to support each other project and to see actually the impact it can bring to our population.
The impact that we can bring. B is for Benin. What is the former name of the Republic of Benin? I think I know that.
Yeah.
Without spying, I think it's Dahomey. All right, see? I did some little bit of history. Let's close with this one last question. Who are the Berbers? B is for Berbers, B-E-R-B-E-R-S. Are they people living at the uplands of Morocco, or is it B, ancient native people of South Africa? Do you know that?
I know it's A.
She's like, I know it's A. Are you kidding me? This is where we wrap it up, as we are speaking with Paulette Mpouma, who is the owner of the African Memory Game, and she also does Teaching African Day. All right, so this is This Time Africa. We bring the curtain down. Hey, you know what to do. Sundays at 4 p.m. That's where you find us. www.africtoday.com. Go to YouTube, go to WhatsApp, go to Twitter, and of course, if you have a memory stick and a flat screen TV, go to Amazon, and we are right there. It's been great having you. We're in the studios of Africa Today. This is This Time Africa, and I'm your host, Sia Matilda Banga. I'll see you next time.